Now, our next guest is an American phenomenon. A recluse. It took us a messenger pigeon to the Himalayas to finally book him. Known as the wild child of the American musical theater, I'd like to welcome Ryan William Bailey. How are you doing today, Mr. Bailey?
Well, I'm here.
Like present in the space?
Present in the space, present in time. I'm observing. I'm observing you. I'm observing your crew. I'm constantly observing.
Well, I hope you are liking what you're seeing.
Absolutely.
So, why do you think you've created such a stir in the theater world?
I think that anytime you question norms, social norms, you're bound to get pushback. When people aren't comfortable, they're angry because you're more comfortable than they are being uncomfortable.
And you feel that you're more comfortable than most people.
Absolutely.
And they're uncomfortable.
Everyone I know is uncomfortable at a point. And I think what you really have to get to really understand any person is, how uncomfortable can they be?
How uncomfortable can you make them?
Well, that's half the battle.
What do you think drives discomfort in people?
Discomfort in people is driven by lack of self-awareness, wanting to fit a social norm, again, wanting to be seen as this or that, be it a religion, a political affiliation. It's whatever school you subscribe to. If you go counter to that, they feel they initially have to be uncomfortable in it because it's how they define themselves. And I don't like definitions.
You've had dramatic themes of arson in your work.
Absolutely.
Why arson?
The flame envelops us all.
Are you in the flame right now?
I think we're all in a crucible of sorts right now. Politically, the world is upside down. Let's look at ecologically. Wildfires, it brings us back to base. It brings us back to zero. So I feel that arson in any work is extremely, extremely erotic and representative.
So your solution is to burn it all down erotically?
Absolutely. If you can't burn it down erotically, you probably shouldn't burn it down.
Is that why you always carry matches when you're naked?
I found that the best matches in the world come from friends. And they also happen to have the largest voyeuristic community. So I think there's a definite parallel between French matches and erotic art.
Is that why your performances are banned in France?
Do you have a beverage?
Oh, yes, of course. Sheila, be a doll, thank you. All right, Sheila, all right. You got a husband, Sheila, come on.
Speaking on France, I spent some time, as you're aware, in Marseille, and it wasn't so much. They have the Chateau d'If there, from the novel, It's a false story. It didn't really happen. But I was on the island and I met I suppose she would be the equivalent of a governor's wife, and we found our own way off that island. And I'm not allowed back.
Let's start at the very beginning.
Very good place to start.
Thank you. What do you think your primary influences were?
Primary influences. Walter Matthau. His naysayer while remaining optimistic energy always thrilled me. It entranced me.
So how did you end up beating him up at a party?
Well, I drive a 1976 Porsche, and he drives a 1956 Porsche. And we got into fisticuffs over the fact that his had more class, mine had more horsepower, so on and so forth. It became, I'm embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. I truly. Is this on? Is this my?
Absolute. Say your piece.
Mr. Mathau, I'm very sorry that it got as far as it did.
To see such titans of the arts just pounding each other and backhanding each other ferociously.
Absolutely.
Difficult.
I mean that I don't think that the waitress with the hors d'oeuvre tray, I don't think she is out of the hospital yet.
Have you made contact with her?
No, I was told by my lawyers I should not.
Interesting that you apologize to Mr. Mathau, but not to the woman who was actually critically hurt.
I like to think that good things will come to her.
What does Orion William Bailey fear most?
You cut to the core, don't you?
Just asking the questions that America needs to know.
I would say what I fear most are absolutes. We can go throughout our day not knowing anything and be perfectly content, not knowing what's going to happen. The second I tell you, this will happen, it consumes you. Absolutes are horrifying.
So what you're saying is the biggest joy to life is ignorance.
Ignorance is bliss, I've heard.
What about your critics who argue that the ignorance and emptiness of your work is a real detraction?
I would say to those people that they are looking for very generic, just whitewashed art. They don't want individualism. They want what others see as art. They want to feel validated by what they see as art through the eyes of others. They don't think for themselves. They're sheep.
I'm told that you have a penchant for being able to create beat poetry on the spot. Is that correct?
There was a time when I was experimenting early in my work with opioids, that my beat poetry was known throughout, I would say, several counties of Northern Ireland. Yes.
Oh, so it's really location specific.
Absolutely.
So can you give us a beat poem in your best North Ireland accent?
Can you give me a beat?
You dum bum bum dee bum. Bum 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 dee dum bum. Bum bum.
Nights were cold in Ireland, yes they were. Nights were cold in Ireland, called you to the car. Mama came home hungry, Daddy came home mad. That's why your childhood was so bad. Oh, Ireland will break a man in two. Ireland will rake you through and through. Alcoholism is no joke. That's why the Irish are all broke.
That was remarkable. Excuse me, just give me a second. If you could go back in time and tell baby Wayne Newton anything, what would it be?
I would warn Wayne Newton against the dangers of cholesterol. As far as the health of our species and our society, cholesterol is quite literally the silent killer, and I wish Wayne Newton had known that going in.
Is that where your trust issues started?
My trust issues definitely started. Sorry.
Take your time.
Trust, not unlike, let's say, love. You don't get to choose who you trust. You can say who you would like to trust, and you can think inside you're trusting the right person. But how often is trust an illusion? Because it's crumbled more often than not, yet these are people we trust. So it is I believe it is the body's enemy. It is your emotional well-being's enemy to trust.
Trust is the enemy of the body. Now, what does the word, to Ryan William Bailey, what does the word women mean? Women. To a Ryan William baby.
Women. I don't like ownership. I just want that for the record.
You don't want to own? You don't want
I don't want to own. I don't want to own. I don't mind being owned.
You like to be owned?
Sure, why not?
You can be bought.
I can't be bought.
But you can be owned.
I can give myself.
You can be leased.
I can give myself. You don't think about your impact on another, where cruelty comes in.
Well, that's the downside of ignorance, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You have to find that balance of being ignorant, but not ignorant about your ignorance.
Precisely.
Would you ever do drag?
They feel things that I will never feel, and I have to respect that. And I do respect that, and I applaud the efforts of anybody to express themselves, however that may be.
What is the best thing about yourself?
The best thing about myself is no different than the best thing about you, or the best thing about your lovely crew here, and that is the ability to be open, to see how you want to change, to embrace another idea. The best things about ourselves are the parts of ourselves we have yet to discover. And without those parts of ourselves, we will not be who we are.
I've heard a rumor that you were training ducks as gangs in order to start some sort of gang warfare to take over.
Well, they migrate, as you know. If you could, first off, may I make a PSA?
I mean, I can't stop you from here.
It's great here. Ladies and gentlemen at home, is it this one?
That's yours, yeah.
That one?
No. Over here.
This one? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen at home, many of you will spend your summer months, your sunny months, at the beach, frolicking, enjoying, having a wonderful time. Do not feed ducks bread. It gives them a condition known as angel wings, and it is absolutely imperative that they do not get this. They die. You think, oh, I'm giving them a piece of Wonder Bread, and they love it. Gesundheit.
Thank you.
And they love it. And they're coming to me, and look at this, and you have your toddler in your arms, and you're like, we're feeding the ducks. You're killing the ducks. Stop killing ducks. Frozen corn, peas, grains, these are things we should be feeding the ducks, not processed foods. We should take a lesson in that ourselves.
Thank you for that. Very important stuff. Who is Marianne?
Well, Marianne is an idea. Marianne is an idea of someone who sees you entirely for who you are and what you could be. And you lose her because you do not know to go with her.
Seems like you're fighting a constant battle to be known without really wanting to be known at the same time.
Being known allows you many pleasantries in life. The finest tables, the best reservations, concerts. But you miss out on the important things because people just know you. They don't know you.
Would you ever sing on a swing set?
I have no problem doing my own stunts. And I've always said this. This one?
Same one as been this whole time.
I have no problem doing my own stunts. I've never had a problem doing my own stunts. Swing sets do elicit a childlike joy. There is something invigorating about the back and forth that
Seems to be a sexual charge for you.
I will tell you that there is a rush in falling and knowing you can't hit the ground. That I do enjoy immensely.
Well, that seems to be a metaphor for your entire output of work.
I'm not saying I can't hit the ground. I'm saying that I put the ground in a different place than those that might be my critics, that those that might want to dissect my work, that might want to criticize what we are doing here.
If you knew that you had to lose some sort of limb or appendage, you had to, which one would you choose and why?
Ear. Absolutely.
Is there a particular ear?
My right ear. Because I hear less well out of it. I can stick a Q-tip almost the entire way in, which I don't think is normal.
Now, you've often said that you will never apologize to the orphans from St. Paul's. Is there anything you do want to say about that situation?
I would like to say this to the orphans from St. Paul's. This one? I hope you all find happiness. Every one of you.
3 years ago, you were arrested at the zoo for taunting the animals. Which animals do you find it most necessary to taunt?
I always go straight for the orangutans because they think, and I know they think this, that they are the top of the rung. But you get 20, I'm going to say 20 prairie dogs to confuse the hell out of them, and you have yourself a gorilla shish kebab.
If you could sleep with any Supreme Court justice, which would it be and why?
I can tell you who it wouldn't be.
Well, there's only 9. You can tell us when they wrote down.
Yes, I can tell you I would not sleep with Merrick Garland.
He is the Attorney General.
And I wouldn't sleep with him.
So John Roberts is still a maybe.
John Roberts, I happen to know, has my number. And whether or not I'd answer is another question entirely for another interview.
Enough said, enough said. If I was to leave you on a desert island with just one tool, which one would you choose?
Didn't you just leave me on the island? I'm sorry. I would have to say, one tool, piano wire.
If you would describe the secret of life in one word, what would it be?
The secret of life. Amazement. When you lose the ability to be amazed, you lose the ability to truly live and feel. And I don't know what the point is other than those things.
You've often called other music theater actors whores of the devil. What is the difference between your work and theirs?
Well, one, I don't believe in any extreme deity. Let's be honest, Sky Grandpa is a silly notion on even the most cataclysmic of days.
You're the one bringing the devil into Dear Evan Hansen.
Listen, all I know is that I don't trust any teenager in a cast.
Do you know the devil?
I know my own devils very well.
Okay, well, thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Bailey.
It has absolutely been my pleasure. I hope that you have enjoyed what we've offered you tonight.
As soon as I take a shower, I'll be able to get past it.